Start the music, please.
Good evening. Apologize for my absentee. Had an event I had to cover. Welcome to the March 25th Valley View School Board meeting. Member Baduris, would you all rise and you lead us in the pledge, please? Yeah, I'll be all right.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Member Perro, would you give us the board affirmation statement, please?
Our mission is to empower all learners to be college and career ready and to develop, grow, and achieve as productive citizens.
Dr. Mitchum, the agenda, please.
Yes, Mr. President, I'd like to ask that the board approve the agenda as presented.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The ayes have it. Dr. Mitchum, consent agenda.
Yes, Mr. Quigley, I'd like to ask that the board approve consent agenda items 5.1 through 5.4. 5.1 board meeting minutes 3/11/19. 5.2 executive session meeting minutes 3/11/19. 5.3 gifts for John R. Tibbet Elementary School and Independence Elementary School, and 5.4 trips for Bolingbrook High School.
Motion?
So moved.
Second. Motion seconded. Is there any discussion?
I have a question. Did we get our male chaperone for that trip for Bolingbrook High School? Okay, thank you.
Member Sikora, we will confirm that to ensure that there's appropriate supervision for the students attending. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, seeing none, roll call vote would be in order.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Gilbo?
Yes.
Member Perro?
Yes.
Member Baduris?
Yes.
Secretary Sikora?
Yes.
Vice President Zach?
Yes.
President Quigley?
Yes. Student and staff recognition, DECA state qualifiers. Mr.
Good
Kinder.
evening, President Quigley, members of the board, Dr. Mitchum, senior leadership, members of the audience and community. It gives me great pleasure to announce or introduce our Career Tech Ed Department Chair, Mr. Rick Rujewitz, who's also our DECA sponsor at Romeoville High School.
Mr. Kinder, President Quigley, members of the board, Dr. Mitchum, senior leadership, and members of the audience and community. This is my 6th year as a DECA sponsor here at RHS. We started with 6 kids about 6 years ago, and it's now grown up that we've done, as the time has gone on, we're up to 27 that qualified for our state event 3 weeks ago at the Illinois DECA Career Conference. Of the 27 that qualified for state, we had 14 medals, which is our best performance yet, and then 13 kids made it to the stage, and we even have 1 student that made it to qualify for an international conference. So it is a great honor for me to introduce those students, and if I may, I'm going to call them up. In the sports entertainment marketing, Sharaf Abdullah Talib. International business plan, Vicky Shaduba. Business and merchandising operations research project, Kevin Amaya. And his team member, Ryan Syed. Learn and Earn project, Damian Contreras. Integrated marketing campaign, team event, Julian Nemenzo and Isabella Nakima. That's it. Thank you. And our 2nd place finisher and qualifies for the national event in the business growth plan, Kevin Swartz. Thank you.
Girls All-State Basketball. Rob Rose. Make her walk around. No good.
Good evening, President Quigley, members of the board, Dr. Mitchum, senior leadership, and members of the community. My name is Rob Rose, Assistant Principal for Athletics and Student Activities at Bolingbrook High School. I'm once again honored to be here this time to recognize our student athletes who earned all-state recognition this winter season. Our 2 girls basketball players to earn all-state honors from the Illinois Basketball Coaches Association are Danielle, spelled D-A-N-Y-E-L, Middleton and Treasure Thompson. Both Danielle and Treasure dealt with some adversity this year. I'm very proud of them for growing as a result. Unfortunately, Treasure's season ended with an injury in our regional final, but Danny picked up the slack with her teammates to win the sectional semifinal game and almost win another sectional championship. Very fortunate that both are juniors and will return for us next season. To talk a bit about these 2 outstanding young women, I'd like to bring up our head girls basketball coach, Mr. Chris Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Rose. Good evening to the board and to our public here tonight. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our 2018-2019 All-State participants. The first one is Danielle Middleton. Danielle is, once again, a 2020 graduate. She received all conference honors this year, as well as all area selection by the Herald News. So once again, Danielle Middleton. Next, we have Treasure Thompson. Like Mr. Rose indicated, Treasure season ended in our regional championship game with a ACL injury. She just had her surgery last Thursday on the 21st. So Treasure was recognized by the IBCA as a 3rd-team All-Stater, as well as All-Conference by the Southwest Suburban Conference, as well as All-Area. Treasure is also selected to continue her basketball and academic career at the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill. Thank you, Treasure.
As you can tell, she'll be back in no time. Next up, we have our boys basketball players who earned all-state honors this year. First, the two winningest players in BHS history, Tyler Cochran and Joseph Yosefu. I know I speak for a lot of our fans when I say we will truly miss both of you. We will always appreciate your work ethic and desire to win, but most importantly, we appreciate who you are as young men. And this is a testament to your parents and your family, who I know are in attendance here tonight. You have been examples for those coming after you to follow, and for that, we thank you for honoring the Raiders. Darius Burford, a junior, was also All-State, and if you have not seen this young man play, all I have to say is wow. Darius was instrumental in helping us get to the Super Sectional, one game away from the state finals. We cannot wait to see how his game rises to even greater levels next season. At this time, I'd like to bring our head boys basketball coach, Mr. Rob Brost, who will talk about these three fine young men.
Thank you, Mr. Rose, members of the board, and community members. This year was another banner year for our boys basketball team at Bolingbrook High School, in large part because of the three young men that stand before you. We were the Morris Shootout champions. We were the Decatur Turkey Tournaments champions. We were the Kingdom of the Sun Tournament third place winners. We were the Southwest Suburban Conference champions. We were regional champions. We were also sectional champions. This is the third best record in school history from our team this year. I'm going to introduce these young men one by one. Most people know them as basketball players. They are far more than that, and we're here tonight to honor them because they are outstanding basketball players. But I know these three like they're my own, and I'm very proud of the young men that they are. First, Darius Burford. He is a junior. Come on up, Darius. Darius was all-tournament at the Decatur Turkey Tournament. He was all-tournament at the Kingdom of the Sun Tournament in Florida. He was first team Southwest Suburban All-Conference, first team Joliet Herald News, and of course, All-State by the Illinois Basketball Coaches Association. So Darius Burford one more time. These next two, this is going to be a little more difficult, as I've known these young men since they were 8, 9, 10 years old, something like that. They are both the all-time winningest players in school history. That's really hard to do at a program like ours, to win more games than any other players to ever put a Raider jersey on. First, I'll introduce you to Tyler Cochran, who will be attending Northern Illinois University. Tyler, again, is in combination with Joseph, the all-time winningest player in school history. He's a 1,000-point scorer. We only have 6 players in the history of the school to score over 1,000 points, and he is one of them. He was a McDonald's All-American nominee. He was first team Southwest Suburban Conference, first team Joliet Herald News, and he was co-player of the year by the Voyager Media. Tyler Cochran, one more time. Joseph Yosefu. This one might take a minute here. There's so much to read. Joseph will be attending Drake University to play basketball. Again, he's the all-time winningest player in school history. He's also a 1,000-point scorer, one of 6 in school history. He's a McDonald's All-American nominee. He was a nominee for Illinois Mr. Basketball. He was MVP of the Decatur Turkey Tournament. He was All-Area by the Chicago Sun-Times, which only recognizes the 20 top players in all of the Chicago metro area. He was All-Area by NBC Sportsnet, which only recognizes the top 15 players in the Chicagoland area. He was co-player of the year by the Voyager Media. He was player of the year in the Southwest Suburban Conference. And just today, he had his photo shoot and interview being named player of the year by the Joliet Herald News. Joseph Yosefu.
As you can see, Mr. Burford there, I don't think I've ever been at an event where I haven't seen him with multiple cameras. He's got at least 3 here tonight, so thank you for always coming out, and thank you to all of our parents and everybody for the support. Appreciate it. And to the board, thank you for coming and watching our boys and girls and our winter events this year. Thank you.
I just want to make a comment. Probably a month ago, I was in Honey Jam eating lunch one day, and I saw two of the 4 boys walked in the Honey Jam. 2 of them were those, 2 of those 2. And I observed these boys as they sat down, as they ordered their food, as they got their food, as they waited for their waitress, as they checked out, and I saw nothing but the best, kindest gentleman you'd ever want to meet. I was so proud, and I was just observing from the other side of the restaurant, but as a board member, that made me proud to say those kids go to our school. So thank you, boys.
And having sat next to some of your parents during games, I know why. Moms, dads, thank you. Moving down the agenda, Pillars of Valley View. Oh, you're already here. You guys are quick.
Ready. Good evening, distinguished board members, Dr. Mitchum, senior leadership, and members of the community. I'm Heather Hargrave, and I'm the Director of Special Education. Tonight, I present our 3 district behavior analysts, Meredith Andrioni, Lisa Cipriano, and Michelle Oberlin, as pillars of Valley View School District. Our behavior analysts support all buildings in the district in our special education programs and on an as-needed referral basis for individual regular education and special education students. District administrators and buildings teams appreciate their passion and commitment to meeting the individualized needs of learners, their ability to understand student needs, and their ability to build plans that allow students to grow academically, socially, and emotionally. They are willing to jump in whenever a need arises. Meredith Andrioni has served as a district behavior analyst since the position first came to our district. Meredith currently services the multi-needs and autism programs while also supporting students across the district. Meredith has brought her wealth of knowledge of behavioral supports and expertise to support staff as well as classroom teachers she supports. She has consistently been available to support our most high needs learners across the district and support in building capacity of our staff. Lisa Cipriano works with our CARES teams as well as students across multiple elementary buildings. As a member of the CARES team, she supports students and staff. She works hard to maintain open and ongoing communication and plays a key role in helping teams with data collection and documentation. And finally, Michelle Oberlin supports our cross-categorical programming and our early elementary students. One building administrator describes Michelle as a go-to person when needed. She goes above and beyond her job description and supports all students, not just the ones on her caseload. She is very visible and not afraid to get in the trenches with school teams. Each of these ladies works tirelessly to support our students, often traveling between multiple buildings during the day, directly supporting students and teams, providing professional learning, and supporting district strategic work through committees. It is because of this that we recognize them this evening as pillars of Valley View School District.
While they're doing pictures, we're moving down the agenda. From my left, oh, I'm sorry, we got another one? I only saw one, my bad. Go ahead.
All right. Good evening, President Quigley, board members, Dr. Mitchum, senior leadership, and community members. My name is Andrea Ellickson, and I'm the principal of the STEP campus here in Valley View. It's with great honor that I present Jill Coker, our multi-needs teacher, the Pillar Excellent Award. Jill is in her 9th year of teaching the multi-needs population, where she shows great dedication, passion, and patience serving her students with severe disabilities. Within the district student services department, Jill is considered a leader and a mentor, as she's often called upon to support self-contained teachers and programs by visiting their classrooms and presenting information on how district initiatives can be embedded within the multi-needs classroom. She also provides assistance and guidance as needed. Jill is successful in her practice not only because of her heart and passion, but because of her ability to work collaboratively with her students and her colleagues. She is creative in finding various ways to differentiate and service her students' individual needs. Jill is full of spirit, which consumes her students and makes learning engaging and fun. She's reflective in her professional practice, and she's constantly striving to improve. Jill not only looks to improve her professional practice, but also the program as well. She is currently a member of the STEP Building Impact Team and the Spirit Club. She supports her students, families, and community as she plans and attends many of our extracurricular and fundraising events at STEP. This year, Jill has taken it upon herself to organize the Ability Awareness Month activities to promote our vision and theme of Choose to Include. Jill is student-centered, reliable, and maintains a growth mindset. Whether she's your teacher, colleague, mentor, or friend, it's a blessing to have her in your life. It is with great honor that I present her the Valley View Pillar of Excellence Award.
So, moving down the agenda, liaison reports from my left. From my right. Audience participation. Is there anybody in the audience who wishes to address the board this evening? Seeing none, agenda item 9, student due process. Dr. Mitchum.
Yes, Mr. Quigley, I'd like to ask that the board approve consent agenda items A through C.
So move.
Second.
Motion and second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none, roll call vote would be in order.
Member Gilbo?
No.
Member Perro?
Yes.
Member Badouris?
Yes.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Secretary Sikora?
Yes.
Vice President Zach?
Yes.
President Quigley?
Yes. Next, Ms. Kinder.
No report this evening.
Thank you. Mr. Grizafi. Thank you. Judy, HR.
Good evening. Action Report 12.1 is our consolidated action report. This evening, we're recommending for your approval 75 items for certified personnel and 54 items for classified personnel.
Motion? Second. Motion and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Member Perro? Yes. Member Badouris?
Yes.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Gilbo?
Yes.
Secretary Sikora?
Yes.
Vice President Zach?
Yes.
President Quigley?
Yes. Information reports.
Thank you. And before I proceed on to my other 2 action reports, I just wanted to let the board know that we have completed our recall and placement process for our involuntary transfers for certified staff, as well as our 1 reduction in force. And we are not anticipating a reduction in force for our classified staff this year.
Thank you. Good note.
Action Report 12.2, we are seeking your approval on resolution number 1922, which is authorizing the non-reemployment of first-year probationary teachers.
Motion?
So move.
Motion and seconded. Is there any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Member Badouris?
Yes.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Gilbo?
Yes.
Member Peril,
Yes.
Secretary Sikora,
Yes.
Vice President Zach,
Yes.
President Quigley.
Yes.
Action Report 12.3, we are recommending your approval for Resolution Number 1923, authorizing the dismissal of a fourth-year probationary teacher for reason other than reduction in force.
Motion?
So moved.
Motion and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none. Roll call vote, please.
Member Peril,
Yes.
Member Gilbo,
Abstain.
Member Campbell,
Yes.
Member Badouris,
Yes.
Secretary Sikora,
Yes.
Vice President Zach,
Yes.
President Quigley.
Yes. Next up, job descriptions.
That is also me. Information Report 13.1. I'm bringing you this evening information regarding 3 job descriptions. 2 of them are not new positions. They are a current position that is being split into 2. The third is a new position, and all are necessary for the increased demand on our data analysis needs.
Does anybody have any questions?
I have a couple questions, please. The first one is, I think the board needs to know when we get a new technology support system, such as the SIS, that we need to tack on another $100,000 because we need a technician person to do that. And we're not given that information in advance, and maybe we need to know that, if that can be done, okay? Secondly, in reading through the descriptions of what is necessary for the job, I agree with all of it. I mean, 7 years of experience in IT. Unfortunately, if they have 7 years experience, they're probably going to go to a business that can pay them more. I think we're in a kind of vicious circle because we are a school district. We can't pay quite as much as the business world, and yet we want that experience that they have. So it's something I think needs to be discussed, if at all possible. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Good comments. Anybody else have any questions on that?
I just have a comment. I know, talking to community members just recently, and I know I've said this a lot of times, that they would much rather hire people that are teachers in the classroom and have no problems with that. But every time we hire an administrative person to take care of something that's not within the classroom, that it's hard for them to understand that. And just as Deb has said, when we approve these technological software or whatever it is, that we need to know that that comes with it before we decide to approve these things. That's all I have. Thank you for that feedback, and I will deliver that to Executive Director Welch.
Kitchen equipment replacement. Gary Grisafi, that's got to be you.
That is me. Just FYI, we are on the street for bids, which will be due on April 22nd, to upgrade 3 elementary school kitchens, serving line, and a walk-in cooler freezer combo at Jonas Salk, serving line, an exterior walk-in freezer cooler at Irene King, and a walk-in freezer cooler combo unit at BJ Ward. The Irene King and Jonas Salk equipment dates back to the 80s. The new equipment certainly will be more energy efficient, providing more space for both staff and students within those dining areas. And so upon completion, we'll have 9 of the 12 elementary units upgraded with new equipment. So we have incorporated the budget allocation, estimated budget allocation, in the FY19 Nutrition Services Department budget.
Thank you.
I have a question. Why is the budgeted amount for, or estimate for Ward so much less, like half than the others?
They're not doing a serving line at Ward. The other 2 have serving lines incorporated as well. There's a serving line at both Salk and Irene King. Ward just has the walk-in freezer cooler.
Less work. Next up, facility dogs. Who's handling that? Ms. Kinder.
I will introduce Mary Worster, who's our Executive Director of Student Services, and then she will be introducing our special guest this evening to share with you a proposal regarding facility dogs supporting in our buildings. So Mary, if you please join us.
Good evening, distinguished members of the board, senior leadership, and community members. This evening, we are presenting an information report regarding the request to bring facility dogs into our district schools to support our students. I'm here to introduce Rachel Newtons, SRT leader at Lukanzik Middle School, Sarah Fortier, Romeoville High School counselor, and Jody Ellis, principal of R.C. Hill Elementary School, to tell you more about facility dogs, their role, and our benefit to our students.
Good evening. Tonight we're going to present to you some information about bringing a facility dog into our schools. So today we're going to talk about what a facility dog is, why we should have them within our school settings, and what the process is that we have to go through in order to get one. We're going to go over the definition and some of the key benefits of having facility dogs within our school setting. A facility dog is a highly trained and skilled therapy dog used to enhance the quality of life and education for children or adults, including but not limited to those with disabilities or special needs and seniors. Facility dogs are handled by professionals and can be used to assist a select group of individuals to better manage their daily tasks. Facility service dogs in schools typically work hand in hand with administrators, deans, school counselors, school psychologists, school social workers, and other support personnel. Some of the key benefits of having a facility dog within our buildings is that dogs encourage physical movement, verbal communication, nonverbal communication, improved social behavior, reduced stress or reduced anxiety, the overall sense of belonging in the school building, and the emotional well-being of students and staff.
Good evening. I'll talk a little bit about why having a facility dog in our schools might benefit our students. This information comes from the CDC regarding statistics around anxiety. Anxiety disorders are the most common mental illness in the U.S. About 25% of children between ages 13 to 18 are affected by an anxiety disorder, and only about 36% of these students receive treatment. So if you take Romeoville High School as an example of around 1,900 students, these statistics show that about 475 of those students are affected by an anxiety disorder. 171 of those students are being treated. That means about 304 students at Romeoville High School with an anxiety disorder are not receiving any treatment. Anxiety disorders often co-occur with other disorders such as depression, ADHD, and eating disorders. We also have a statistics from the CDC regarding suicide being the second leading cause of death for people ages 13 to 24. These children are more likely to refuse to come to school, perform poorly in school, miss out on important social experiences, and engage in substance abuse. Research also shows that working with a facility dog improves motivation, social interaction, communication, comfort, feelings of compassion, feelings of safety and well-being, and they can also decrease blood pressure. A facility in our school can help with a variety of things. Some of the things we have come up with are greeting, welcoming, and companionship throughout the day, individual support sessions for our students, as well as group lessons, classroom celebrations, support during testing for those with anxiety, and also breaks during the day, such as movement and comfort, and several colleges, such as Yale Law, are using therapy dogs. And Jody will talk about the process.
We'll talk a little bit today about the Icam process, and Icam stands for Indiana Canine Assistant Network. 3 of us have currently started the process of interviewing, and you'll meet Leroy in a little bit. Leroy came from Icam as well. It's a really extensive application process. I've been in the process for a year now, coming up on a year. It starts with filling out application paperwork, which asks questions such as what your home life is like, what your facility is like, what other animals are in your house, everything. Do you smoke, drink, everything you can think of. And then we drove down to Indianapolis to have an interview. The first interview was a 3-hour interview process. They get to know you, get to know your needs, your facility needs, and then they start to pair you with a dog. Dogs are trained for 2 years, so you receive the dog at the age of 2 years old, fully trained, and in the process as well. They do home and school evaluations. And then there's also an annual recertification. So you don't just get the dog and then it's yours. They continue to pop in, examine how you're training the dog and how the dog's working in the facility, everything like that. So they're trained using positive reinforcement, and I think you'll see that tonight a little bit. All the dogs learn a base of 30 behaviors, and then they train for specific needs. So you tell them what you're specifically looking for. So if they were to come to RC Hill, for example, the dog might be able to help unlock the doors in the main lobby back and forth. So just anything specific that would be needed for your facility, the dogs are trained to do, and they can be trained up to 90 commands. The dogs are paired with a caretaker based on the dog's personality and the needs of each school. So you're not guaranteed it could be 2 years or more to get a dog because they really spend a lot of time matching it to the needs and to the personality of the caretaker. The dogs are housed with their trainers, so they're continually learning and training for a variety of situations. And there's more than one trainer, so that if I were to own a facility dog, then I would have multiple trainers with me so that there's multiple people that can use the dog for training purposes at the facility. We've spent a lot of time looking at how do we notify parents and community, because we know that that's one of the big things that we would have to do. We've investigated how other schools are handling this, and it starts with parent guardian notification regarding the facility dog and their role and how that's provided and what the dog's role is. There's allergy considerations that are taken into place procedurally, and then expectations for interactions would be walked through by the caretaker. The dog needs to be trained how to be received at the school by the adults so that the training can continue and they can perform their job duties in the school setting. So this is Karen, and she works at Plainfield Academy, and Leroy is from Icam. So is this where we're going to show?
So we had a slideshow that also had caretaker expectations in there, but didn't make it on that slide because I know there will be questions about that as well. And I know Karen can answer some of the caretaker expectations and show you what Leroy can do. Do you want to come up, Karen?
I don't know if any of you have questions first, or did you want to see some of the stuff he does? You want to see some stuff? All right, come on, buddy. Being that he is a facility dog, he doesn't have any specific training that he needed to do. There's a lot that are trained to like retrieve stuff for people or help pick it up. He can do all of it, but most of his has to do with interacting with students. I don't know if somebody wants to come sit in a chair up here. You'd be my guinea pig. So when working with a student, if I want the dog to come up and visit her, if you say visit, he'll come up and just lay his head in her lap so that she can pet him. Can you visit? Visit. Good boy. Which really excites the kids that they have that acceptance. That dog comes up and they're like, he likes me, which really helps in situations, especially if they're kind of backing out of situations, not engaging. When they do engage with the dog, it really opens up a lot of communication with the student. He can get up in their lap. We tend not to do it because it seems to be a little overbearing to have a dog kind of jump up at you, so we stay with the visit right in the lap. We can also, he'll lay down. Leroy, down. Down. Come on. You know what I have in my pocket. Leroy, down. Good. Can you roll? Roll. Roll. I know. Down. Leroy, down. Come on. No, not shake. Down. He's like, I don't want to. Leroy, down. Thank you. Can you roll? Go this way. Roll. There you go. Good boy. A lot of times we'll also have him stay. We'll have him lay down on the floor like this, and the kids just love to come around and pet him. We've had kids lay with him on the floor. They'll read to him. Kids that hate being in class and hate reading, if you tell them, hey, you want to read to Leroy today, it opens up a whole nother option for them. And he's learned about social studies, novels. They'll stop and say, okay, you know what's going on? It's great to see them interacting like that. All right, stand. Good boy. Does anybody have a pen they would like to? So he can go get things. The kids love to see him do this. Sit. Stay. All right, Leroy, get pen. Bring. Thank you. Sorry, I'll wipe it off. Good boy. So he gets things for them. They love to see that. One of his favorite things, which I can't really show you here, but he loves to close doors, loves to close the drawers. If you open your desk drawer and you say push, he pushes it, and the kids think that's great also. But just his presence within our building has made a huge difference with our students. He does kind of wander around, like he wants to now. So he's there just for the kids on a daily basis to kind of just pet them, but also when kids are in crisis or if we have social work sessions or group sessions, he's there also with them. I don't know if you guys have specific questions.
Anybody have any questions?
During the day, who takes care of the dog? Who takes him out? Who feeds him? Who, does that ordinary things that would be done throughout the day?
I usually make sure he goes out. He doesn't have to go out that often. I usually, first thing in the morning at bus duty, take him out with me. And then around lunchtime, I'll take him out, and then he's usually good till the end of the day. But if I'm busy, our office clerks or other people are always happy to be like, I'll run him outside. So we just have people pitch in and help out. Me. I'm the assistant principal.
So what do you do about children with, or anyone with allergies?
Since we do have older kids, we have middle school and high school kids. Most of them know if they have an allergy, they kind of stay away. We have not had any issues for just, even non-contact allergies. We keep them well brushed, we keep them clean, and we just haven't had, and the kids that know they can't be near them won't, they'll say hi to them from a distance, and that's about it.
How long have you had him?
I've had him for just over 2 years. He's 4 now.
Part of the parent notification, parent guardian notification that goes home indicates that if your child has an allergy, please contact the building administrator. They would work a plan, whereas the dog would not go in that classroom if we knew that a student had a severe dog allergy, or that student wouldn't have individual contact with that dog. We know that really the allergen in saliva and the dander, and I'm not an expert on this, but Sarah is, so she can tell you a little bit more about that, about where it's actually carried. Part of the caretaker responsibilities are regular grooming, caring for any of the medical needs of the dog, feeding, toileting, liability, would all be on the caretaker.
Does Leroy follow commands from students?
Yeah, he will. He will listen to them. He's actually very good. Some of them have gotten good with even hand motions. If they, will say, sit, or they'll pat the ground and he'll lay down. Because we do have some kids that are nonverbal, so he'll even follow some of those too.
I know that the Will County court system uses therapy dogs for children that have to preside in, go into court and testify or whatever you call all that. I don't know. And it's a very successful program.
Actually, I went through training with somebody, and it was in Indiana, so it was
the CASA, I think it's the court-appointed special advocate, she was getting one for that kind of work, and he's been very successful for her too.
How about ruckus situations? How do the dogs handle those? If there's a fight or if they hear yelling or, something like that?
He does not react to that, and then when we have, because I am part of our crisis team, if we do have a code or a crisis, I just keep him locked in my office and I go, but he doesn't react at all to it if he hears anything or anything's going on. And then sometimes we use him afterwards with the kids. So, and I think sometimes if they do see him in the hallway, it kind of diffuses it also.
Are the dogs allowed to be out of the trainer's sight? So I'm thinking of even older kids in the high school. Could an older student have the dog for a day, or does something like that work?
Yeah, they do. I will, sometimes he'll go downstairs. We have our TAP program downstairs, which is our more therapeutic program, and he'll spend the day down there with those teachers and students, and he's fine to be with other people too.
Anybody else have any questions? I have a comment. I have a brother who has trained PTSD dogs for veterans, and the value of it is incredible. And he has actually taken the dog in and out of hospitals multiple times. The current dog he has is a boxer, and he will train them for 3 or 4 years and then give them up. And like he said, it's like giving up a kid. But so there is a great value to it in certain realms for sure. So thank you. Anybody else have any questions, comments?
Just real quick, in this organization, you talk about kind of that giving back, is they use the prison system in Indiana to do the training of the dogs. And at graduation, just to hear those stories and how those inmates have bonded and trained those dogs is, it's an awesome experience. It's great. So all around, they're an organization that's really trying to help everybody.
Actually, that was one of my first thoughts within the education. Not that our students are inmates, but I was wondering if our students could get involved with the training at some point of dogs.
Well, and yeah, you can do groups with the students, and you can, teach them how to interact with him and how to, if they want to train him in a new skill, they could try and work on that.
Thank you. Anybody else? Thanks so much.
Sure, no problem.
I want our dog to
See you,
be named
Leroy. Thanks for coming,
yeah.
bud.
Yeah, you guys can say hello.
I want our dog to be named.
Where are we at on the agenda? Next up, legal services report.
No report.
Thank you. AFT reports. Thank you. No report for AFT or Valley View Council. Personnel Council. Apparently no report. Any old business before the board? I will point out an old board member who's here, Mr. Curran. Always good to see you.
May I correct you, President Quigley, and say a past board member, not an old board member?
Don't let all that gray hair give it away.
Yeah.
It's always nice to see somebody who's committed their time to the community. The people in the middle here, we volunteer. The people on the ends, they get paid. So, Jim, thank you. Any new business before the board this evening? Any announcements by the board members? Any announcements?
This Friday night is Valley View Education Enrichment Foundation Dinner at the Bolingbrook Golf Club. I'm sure you can still get a reservation to go if you have not signed up already. And if you cannot go, but you still want to see what it's all about and what the auction items are, you can go to www.vveef.givesmart.com and register to be able to look at the auction items and bid on them. So have fun.
I apologize. I skipped over action item 18. Is there anyone who wishes to address the board on actions we have taken this evening? Seeing none, hearing none. Moving down the agenda, any announcements by the administration? Dr. Mitchum? Anyone down there? No. Any announcements by the public? Hearing none, seeing none, a motion to adjourn would be in order. Motion and second. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Have a great and safe evening.